Hi, welcome to another episode of Beyond Just Fine, the self growth podcast for anyone who's looking to move beyond I'm fine and into something more. So, in the last episode, I had a chat with Martyn, our family estrangement coach, about boundaries. We discussed what boundaries are, how to implement them, and how to maintain them. Now, both of us admitted that at one point in time we didn't have any boundaries and we were people pleasers. I myself didn't even know what a boundary was to even know that I needed any boundaries. So I thought it'd be a topic that I would just explore a little bit more and go over a few things and give you some tools and techniques that might help you when it comes to implementing your own boundaries. So, firstly, what is a boundary? Well, a boundary isn't an ultimatum, it isn't a demand or an instruction to somebody. It's simply the parameters that we put in place in order to protect ourselves. It's the way of saying, this is how I want to be treated, this is what I will or will not tolerate. It's just about protecting ourselves. So, it's not about trying to control other people, it's just about saying, this is what I need so that I can feel safe. Now, it can be very difficult to implement boundaries if you're not used to doing so. It can feel very uncomfortable. It can even feel wrong in doing that. You don't like to upset people if you're so used to people pleasing. Upsetting someone else can feel quite alien. It does feel very uncomfortable. I know that I've been there, but it's not about upsetting anyone else or rejecting anyone. It is purely saying, this is what I need to support me. It's about putting ourselves first, which is something a lot of us tend not to do. So, when we don't have boundaries in place, it can leave us feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, insignificant, resentful, even, and not necessarily to other people, but even towards ourselves. We can feel resentful towards ourselves for not standing up for ourselves, for not saying no when we said yes, and all of those kind of things. So it's just being a little bit mindful in situations with certain people. How are we feeling? Is it leaving us feeling drained? Do we feel uncomfortable? Is there uncomfortable emotions coming up? If so, it might be that there's a boundary needed there. But like I said, when you're not used to having boundaries, when you're not quite sure what an actual boundary is, it can be quite difficult to know what to do or what to say. So I'm just going to run through a few situations where boundaries might be needed and a few little kind of like boundary statements that may help you or may help you form your own little boundary statement for your circumstances. So there are time boundaries. So time boundaries just protect, as the name suggests, our time and our capacity. I mean, how often do we go around saying yes to things when realistically we probably want to say no? But again, it's that people pleasing. We don't want to let people down. So we say, yes, I'll come along to that event. Yes, of course, I'll help you. And then it can just leave us feeling overwhelmed and stressed. So in those instances, it's just about, I always say, take a pause to think about it, because more often than not, we're so quick to react. We just want to say yes, either to deal with it, move on, or just because it is that people pleasing, we don't want to upset somebody. But more often than not, because we're so stuck in our head all the time, our body is screaming out to us as to what it needs. We can feel ourselves wanting to say no, but yet we still say yes. We can feel that uncomfortableness when we're in situations where we just don't want to do whatever it is, but yet we still do it. So take that moment, have a little pause, and just kind of tune into your body. What is your body saying to you? Because that is probably giving you the answer of what you actually really want in that moment. So, for example, with the time boundary, you want to protect your time and your capacity. It might just simply be in a case of saying to somebody, thank you for inviting me, but on this occasion, I'll have to give it a miss. Or if it's something you've been asked to do, thanks for thinking of me, but unfortunately, I don't have the capacity to take that on. So, boundaries don't have to be lengthy explanations, they can just be a short, simple statement. It's literally just saying, this is what I need right now to help me, to support me. So there's also emotional boundaries which protect our feelings and our mental space. So that simply might be something like saying, I don't have the capacity right now to deal with this. There are physical boundaries which protect our comfort and our personal space. So that could be just simply saying, this topic is off limits. I don't wish to discuss this, or this feels uncomfortable for me, so I don't want to do this. Communication boundaries, they protect how and when others can get hold of us. So for example, you might want to maybe switch your phone off an hour before you go to bed just to have that wind down time. And it's putting that boundary in place just to say to somebody, look, if you call or message after, say, 9 p.m., it's unlikely you'll get hold of me until the morning. It's as simple as that. Relationship boundaries, they protect our value, our needs, our emotional safety. So that could be something like when we're having a discussion with somebody, it might be saying, look, when we disagree, if voices start to be raised, that doesn't sit right with me. I will have to leave the conversation and come back when things have calmed down. We don't want to put ourselves in situations that make us feel uncomfortable. So having that simple kind of statement, this is what I need in those moments. I just need to have that calmness, because when voices are raised, it just makes me feel uncomfortable, and I just can't deal with that. We can also have work boundaries to protect our time and our energy at work. So that could be something simple as, I don't have the capacity to take on any more work. Please let me know what I need to prioritize. Self boundaries. We sometimes even need boundaries from ourselves. Stop ourselves from pushing ourselves too much by overworking, something I'm guilty of. People pleasing is just about listening to our bodies, taking that time to rest. I'm going to give myself this time now to rest. My body is telling me to rest. So instead of like pushing on the zone, you know what, I'm just going to do another hours of work. No. I need to rest. It's just having those own boundaries with ourselves, just to make sure we can't put boundaries on other people and say, yes, this is how I want to be treated, and then treat ourselves the complete opposite. So we can even have self boundaries too. So there is like a simple formula when creating a boundary. It's about deciding what your boundary might be, perhaps thinking of a boundary statement that you can have, that simple sentence that you can just relate to somebody when you want to enforce your boundary. Say your boundary with confidence, which I know can be quite tricky if you're not used to having boundaries. Speaking it with confidence can be quite a difficult thing to do. And the more you get used to it, the more confident you will feel about doing it. And if you are a people pleaser, the first time you put a boundary in place and you perhaps see the reaction from the other person, and there's that automatic, oh my God, what have I done? You want to retract it. It's just trying to maintain it. It's just trying to go, no, this is for me. This is not wrong. This is good. So yeah, it's just about putting that boundary in place, trying to do it with as much confidence as you possibly can, and then offer an alternative. If you want to, don't need to, but if you want to, you could just offer an alternative, maybe to soften the blow a bit, as it were. Obviously it depends on who the person is that you're talking to. If it's somebody that you want to maintain a really nice relationship with, maybe just giving a brief explanation, it doesn't really hurt, does it? Holding that boundary with consistency, trying to maintain it, which is the hardest part. It can be quite difficult, but like I said, the more that you practice these things, the easier, like with anything, the easier it does become. So for an example, perhaps going back to the communication boundary, where someone's trying to constantly keep calling you like late at night. So you could say, well, look, I value our connection, but please understand that late night chats are something that isn't possible for me, but I'm happy to talk to you during the day. So you've put your boundary in place, and then you've also given that alternative. Look, I can't do late night, but happy to talk to you any time of the day. It's absolutely fine. So when you're setting a boundary, there might be that discomfort. Like I said, it's not going to be familiar because you're not used to doing it. There's always discomfort when we're doing things that aren't familiar. And there's also that potential that you're going to get pushback from somebody. Now, hopefully, there are a lot of people that you're surrounded with will appreciate the fact that you've been open and honest and said, this is what I need right now for me, and they will just accept it and appreciate it. But there may be the odd person that just doesn't like it, especially when you have been a people pleaser for so long. They're not used to this new version of you. What's going on? Who are you? And where is that person that used to just say yes to everything? So there may be the odd pushback, which can feel incredibly uncomfortable when you're not used to putting boundaries in place. So that's normal to expect that. And all you need to do in those situations is just repeat the boundary again. Don't have to give a lengthy explanation. You don't have to say, oh, yes, but it's because, like I said, you can give a brief explanation of what it is, but you don't have to try and justify yourself too much. So it's just repeat the boundary again. And like I said, if you want to do like a brief explanation as to why I can't talk to you after 9 p.m., I can speak to you in the morning because I need to have that wind down time just before I go to bed. Now, if that person is still pushing, then you just got to say, I appreciate what you're saying, but that's what works for me. You don't have to do any more than that. And if they keep on pushing, then maybe it's just a question of asking if you really need somebody like that in your life. I know that can be difficult sometimes, but it's just sometimes having a look around, and is it somebody that we can perhaps walk away from if possible. But yeah, it's just about understanding the situations, situations where you might need a boundary, thinking of what that boundary might be, thinking of a statement that you can use in those situations to explain and express your boundary, and just trying to be confident with it, consistent with it, and expecting that discomfort, but knowing that even with that discomfort, you're not doing anything wrong. Remember, it's not about disrespecting somebody or intentionally upsetting somebody. It's just about saying, this is what I need right now to keep me safe. And that's pretty much what it's all about. I can't remember if there was anything else I was going to say. I have a feeling that there was, but it's gone from my mind. But that is the basics of it. That's the main structure to boundaries. So, like I said, if you're not used to doing them, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. But it is just about practicing. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I reminded myself. Don't beat yourself up was what I was going to say. So when you put that boundary in place, and maybe the next day you completely forget what you're doing and it goes out the window, it happens in the early days when you're not used to doing things. It is just getting used to putting boundaries in place, saying those statements, sticking to it. We're going to make mistakes sometimes. We're going to forget what it is that we need to do. It's okay. We're human at the end of the day. Don't beat yourself up. Don't. It's so easy to sit there and go, oh my goodness, I should have said this. I should have done that. You can always go back. Maybe if you've said yes to something that you really wanted to say no to, and afterwards you're thinking, oh my goodness, my boundary was this and I forgot all about it. Maybe just go back to the person and say, I'm really sorry, but having thought about it, I actually can't do this, or I can't come to this, whatever it might be. So always be kind to yourself. Simple as that, really. It can be very hard. We beat ourselves up about so much stuff, but it's just about realizing at the end of the day that we're human. And there was something else I was going to say, but again, it's gone from my mind. Being human, you see, you get to that age where you just forget stuff quite easily. But that's the basics of it. So recognize where you need a boundary. Is there uncomfortableness, uncomfortable feelings coming up, resentful, anxious, overwhelmed, whatever it might be? What is the boundary that you need in? Take that time, listen to your body. What is it saying to you? Like I said, it's usually guiding us, but we're so stuck in our head that we just ignore it. But more often than not, later down the line, we go, you know what, I should have done that, shouldn't I? So just take that moment, step back, listen to your body. What is it saying? And then, yeah, what is that boundary that we need? What is the statement that we're going to use to enforce that? Just keep practicing it. Be kind to yourself. That was the other thing. I knew it would come back to me. It's just, if you're not sure at the moment in time, you could always say to somebody, can I think about that and get back to you? Simple. Okay? Right, on that note, I think that's everything I've covered. Anything you need to know about boundaries, anything you're not sure of, just drop me a message in the comments and I'll get back to you. Other than that, I'll see you next time.